nature's kind of like, what am I going to do in nature?
You just sent like 5 pictures of a bee on peony.
Don't say that. I have a rep.
Where I ask my guests, how did you do it and why?
Great.
You're stuck on your eye right now.
The rhyme. The rhyme.
Yes,
Stay
that
on your
was
eye.
the point.
Okay, so now where we are here is this is the Bridget and Mark show. Last time we did things dads and daughters shouldn't talk about. We don't know what the hell this subject's going to be. But here is the premise, the concept is I have 3 cards here. Okay, kind of like, what was that, Money Hole, that show years ago?
Well, I just want to jump in and say that we are back to doing this because for those of our viewers or listeners who haven't been on the podcast when you and I are on here, that this is a show that we run together.
Okay, yes.
Just to give a little introduction.
Yep, we should start that.
You are the
host,
founder and host of the Mark Howley Show. Yes. And I do everything else.
You do. I will say that she is my boss, which is a complete bitch. Not a bitch personally, but
that's strong.
But
wording.
I don't. You know, it's. I've been getting ordered around by a lot of women in my life, and this one, well, we bring up our first grown-up female, and
I'm the
she's
first
ordering me around.
Yeah.
But
but it's been fun to jump on the show together because I think it gives people a little insight into this kind of father-daughter duo.
It does.
Which is something I gloss over pretty often because it's like, I don't know, for people maybe who work with their families, they can empathize with this or understand it, where you work with your family or a parent or, you know, anyone in your inner circle, I guess, that you consider family, you tend to compartmentalize maybe like your relationship. Like when we're working, it feels like we're more work.
We're doing a job.
That relationship is more like work oriented. And then when we're not working, it like goes back to the family feeling.
Yes.
And they mesh sometimes, but it's strange sometimes when people are like, oh, you work with your dad. That's so sweet. And I kind of have to be like, yeah, that's right. He's my dad.
Yes,
I almost forget sometimes because I just get...
You know, the saying is?
Which actually I think is good because it helps me perform on a level that's not just like, oh, I can get away with things because my
when
boss
you ever
is my
question
dad.
it, the old saying is, look who signs your goddamn paycheck. Look at the bottom. That's the boss. But we do automatic transfers.
Well, yeah, but still, it's... I mean, the knowledge is there. There might not be a physical signature on there, but...
Well, one of the hard things to do is...
But I like that you're the person who pays me, but I'm still the boss. This is like...
That's the
this
problem.
Is a really
That's the
good
setback. That is the biggest
setback. This is a really good setup for me. I have all the power.
Yes.
And I get the money.
Yeah, I like to think about the podcast as an opportunity to basically bleed red in a business. I mean, we do well. We have a great time. But if you were to run our financial model...
I would not advise this for anyone who doesn't have an extra...
We won't say.
We won't say.
It ain't small. I can promise you that. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get investors. And what I say with investors is patience. Patience. We see this. I like to think of it as a generational investment. That is...
You're going to just pass this down to me in the will?
No.
Bridget gets the Mark Howley Show. She cannot change the name.
No, the biggest thing is it will not turn a profit. Let's say you give it, I get you involved, right? It's a great show.
I'm very involved.
I know. Well, no, I mean,
What
get
do
you
you mean
involved
get me
towards the end of my days. Okay. And you've invested in it.
Okay.
You put some money in it.
Okay.
I think that the return on that investment will pass to Esme.
Oh, my Lord. At that point, I mean, who knows what podcasts will look like at that point in life? I'm like, it's not even going to be headphones. It'll just be like a chip and there'll be like a robot and it'll be...
And there's also no doubt that, like, if you look at it as a business, you know, it has to be ultimately shaking out. Because, you know, I think...
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe it'll continue to be people's choice just to be able to use their voice and express their voice.
I mean, I think that's just like human history forever almost. There will always be a way.
Well, I guess the social media kicked that
themselves
off right away. I mean, was it MySpace years ago?
Oh, well, yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't root a podcast in that. I would commentators, radio, sending out a voice or a conversation through, just audio or whatnot has been being done for a long time.
As long as there's been a radio.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, before that, if you really think about it, it was storytelling and myths. And then, that was how we spread knowledge and just like the happenings of things.
Yeah, that's like all those crazy stories. Like, how did your whatever your civilization start? A whale came, but a fish came out of the ground. Really, the ground. Yeah, it went up and it bit the sun. Okay, and then its scales came off and they fit down. That's how people started.
What origin
like
story
creation
is this?
That's just kind of one I made up. But you know what I'm saying? Like Ra, the sun god, or that made sense. The sun was up there being pretty much a Ra.
I don't think we should be pointing fingers or judgment at like creation stories or.
Oh, I will.
Because I mean that's like a subject matter that can get kind of touchy. And
dark.
Not dark, but
if you let me get into it, it's going to be dark. I am judgmental. I'm prejudiced. I mean, it's ugly. Quick.
Oh my God.
Whole continents of people are wiped off.
Well, I wasn't going into that. I was thinking more of like when I was in school, we read a lot of Mark Twain, which is nothing original.
Ooh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
He kind of specialized in like, sort of like tales in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a tale of, he wrote one short story that was The Luck of Roaring Camp, which was kind of the like myth of a boy who was born by this small working town. And I don't remember what the industry that they were in, but it was this small town basically in Roaring Camp. And they had like a whore who would service all the men. And she had a baby and and died in birth.
Well, that's a bummer.
And so all of a sudden though, this like camp
Thank
of
God she was a
working
whore,
men.
though. Thank God she was a whore, because it was a woman of repute. We would be upset, but if she's a prostitute, we don't. She died. It's okay.
Okay, I'm going to move on. The point is that she left behind this baby that like no one knew whose baby it was. So no man could claim it, but yet all the men felt connected to it and they all respected her because they all came to her for like intimacy and care. She was sort of in a way like the mother of the camp.
Yeah.
And yet died.
That's a stretch, but go ahead.
Well, it is, but it was true because then she had this baby, left it behind, and now all of these men were left to take care of this child who survived through this pretty rigorous birth. She had passed away and they called him Luck.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And that was the name of this baby. And it went on to explain and kind of share the story of how all these men came together. And I can't remember the end of the story now.
He became a psychopath. Mass murder.
No, the town was obliterated at the end, and I think they all had to like save this child, and they end up basically becoming like a big family. But it was sort of this tale that had been passed down that was being told as a success story in a sense of like men raising this baby. And
the obliteration is a little bit of a setback.
Well, it was supposed to be kind of. I can't remember, but I should have probably done my homework.
Well, you know what?
This is coming
I
up
interrupt
in
you
my
now because we have to get back to the show, and
That was easy.
we're all done. We move
There's
on.
the little literature.
Now here's what we have in case anybody can or cannot see. I have 3 cards here. Well, pieces of
I
paper.
have the same too.
Bridget
and
has
I
3.
sweat in frustration over putting these together. So
now-
no one judge my topics or questions because I was put on the spot.
So what I do
I'm
is
not an on the spot thinker.
Okay, I turn one. You say 1, 2, or 3. At which time
You mean 1, 2, or 3 for yours?
you say 1, 2, 3. I turn one over, whatever number you call, and we're going to talk about that. Okay. Won't go on ad infinitum. Okay, we can't be sitting here talking for like an hour and a half.
Is infinitum a term?
Yeah, ad infinitum means on forever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, infinite.
I mean, I understood the root of it, but I just didn't know that was a word.
She's an English major. Okay.
Doesn't mean I know every word in the freaking language.
All right. Okay. So which one would you like to choose? 1, 2, or 3?
I'm going to go with 2. It's my lucky number.
2.
Just read it out loud so
Okay.
that, because I don't think it's pretty small print.
The hassles and way that a baby girl makes your life worse.
Oh my God.
A little bit worse or harder.
Number 2 is hassles and challenges that a baby girl makes my life worse.
Well, worse is hard to say. Things it has done to limit your life.
So just for everyone's like knowledge, I had a baby about 1 year ago. So I'm a new mom.
Which is gorgeous.
She's 13, 14 months now.
And adorable.
And yeah, absolutely beautiful. So this question is a little jarring and insulting because I'm having to now go through my experiences and look for negativity.
Yes, that's the challenge.
Which I suppose
there are things that get taken
yes,
away.
it's real.
You can't just go out and take drugs
I
all
like
night.
What? Yeah. Okay. Sure. I guess that's a good point. I can't.
So let's just think about some things. If we just run along. I mean, we're not. And I'll challenge you on some because I had children.
Well,
I had you.
okay. To be more on the real side, on other mothers who might feel, like they can relate to this, and I guess speak to that. Having a baby is obviously a revolution of life and psyche and spirit, and everything that you thought you knew is different and
snap. It's all changed.
And in a very quick period of time. Yeah. Pregnancy is like one thing. It's like preparation, and it's, you know, you're going into this unknown, but then once they're there, once they come through and they're really in your arms and they're in your care, there is no time to hesitate or prepare. You know, you're just in it all of a sudden.
Yeah. I would say when you bring a kid home, everybody says, "Oh, I know what it's like." No. When you have a baby and it shows up, it is a shit show trying to make understand all the little ins and outs.
I didn't think it was so much a shit show as much as it was just so, I don't even know the word. It's like almost a indescribable experience, especially I think the first one especially. But I mean, I've heard moms call it the newborn bliss bubble, and that couldn't be more true because yes, while you're in it, it's so intense and there's so many things you're trying to learn and research and understand, and there's breastfeeding and there's sleeping and there's clothing and there's diaper changes and there's like, I say, I make this joke, but it's not even really a joke. Like now I have like 2 bodies to take care of. I've got 4 arms, 4 legs, 2 hearts, 4 lungs. I've got
there's a husband in there. You chuck him in there.
Yes. But as the mother, I'm responsible almost as if it's my own body.
It is all came out of you.
Yeah, and so it's that's
we're supposed to get to the problems.
Well, what I was thinking though is I know, and I just got done a group for kids. I was taking Esme to Nature Babies, which a little shout out to Wild Beginnings in Boise. They put on this kind of group where you can bring your kids every Friday morning and you can hang out, and they usually have a subject matter or a discussion topic thing that you can have with other moms.
I thought with the kids.
No, obviously no. None of them are
let's
chatting.
Let's talk dogs.
Yeah, let's see no. But and one of the discussions at one point was how do you manage self-care? How are you making time for yourself as a new mom? And I would say every single mom there was a new mom. So this was everyone's first child.
Yep.
And so there were a lot of questions or a lot of answers and stuff. And I don't want to go into what other people were saying, but I hadn't even really considered how, that I hadn't even really considered that question because I was just so I was just so much in transition mode that I had kind of, I wouldn't say I was in transition mode. Actually, what I would say is I was so focused on making everything blend that I didn't think of it as I didn't have time for things that I used to do or didn't have time for self-care. I was so focused on how to just bring them together for all the time that I had Esme. I was taking all this time to be a mom, but I almost there was a little rebellious mom in me who was okay, but you still have to
fight for you.
Also figure out, how are you? For me, it was my yoga practice. It was being with my horse and continuing on learning, building my horsemanship and learning those types of things. And then also just nature.
What about being able to
nature.
go out at night and drink?
That's not me.
No, but I mean, seriously, you know, I mean, you go out.
No, I understand,
You
like,
used to
letting
to go out and get
loose
hammered a
and-
lot.
No, I did not.
Usually
so
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That was it.
I mean, what we say is we start on Wednesday to kick off, Thirsty Thursday. Then you get to Thirsty Thursday, and then it's Friday. So
What the
obviously
hell?
you're
Just
going
keep
out.
running, keep running.
Saturday you're going to brunch. So we're just gonna roll
wouldn't?
that
Who
into the
would?
night, and then Sunday obviously brunch again. We're just gonna roll that in, and then you take off Monday and Tuesday and get back to it.
And with a child,
No, that was
keep it up.
oh my gosh, no, that was that. I don't really ever think I lived that life. That joke came from almost hearing
about-
how
how
other
about-
people used to drink.
You can't date
But
anymore,
regardless,
can you?
No, I'm married. Yeah, Esme really put a cap on that. It's like, dang it. Guess I got to get off the dating apps.
They really got to like you to bring that one in.
No,
Plus, you got to fight
but-
through the hubby. That's another problem.
Yeah, it's a problem. He just won't let me bring people home anymore. So lame.
My wife did that. My wife did that too.
So absolutely.
I even did
annoying.
one thing where I said to her, "You can bring people home, and then I can bring people home separately. Obviously, we're not some wretched thing. No go." And she didn't want to. And I really didn't want to. She would fuck everything up.
Yeah. I'm trying to think though, really, of your question, like a hassle, not making it so much negativity, but it is funny. Like I think I'm still trying to find myself in this, truly. Like I can't say I'm like, oh, I've arrived at like this balance and
Well,
this
no.
harmony.
How the hell can you?
But I feel like I've done actually like a pretty good job. And, for people who are like maybe really struggling with this, or for moms who are really struggling with this, I feel like and I hate this advice, but I also love it, is like, you just have to do it. You have to find what you did in the past before you had kids that really filled you up, really brought you energy, brought you back to yourself, whether that was like through a sweat, through, social time, or, a class or a book, or
Anything just to separate yourself from
anything that brings you into yourself. Yeah. That doesn't claim a role in a sense, like, which is really hard, right? Like it's something that you're not a mom, you're not a wife, you're not a sister, you're not a friend, like you're just you. And that's, in my life, that's always been a pretty consistent, important thing for me. Like I've always been
we
drawn
have to move
that.
on here because we have more questions to go, and I hate to
Let me
interrupt you.
finish. Let me
Okay,
finish.
my bad.
I just want to finish with, if you have those things, if you've been lucky enough in life to know what those things are, that you make time for them, you just do them, and you make it happen as often as as often as you can, as comfortably as you can, right? Without it draining accounts for nanny and babysitting, or harming your relationship with your marriage, or with your partner, or whoever you're raising your child with. And, coming back to that place, because that is a challenge.
Oh, no. I'll close with this. As a father and running a business, when I talk about balance, it's like occasionally you catch it. It's like a seesaw, and you catch it and it's all equal, and then it just goes out of whack.
Yeah.
I'm working too much. I'm with my kids too much. I'm with my wife too much. Oh, I'm just right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not, it's like beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
And then it catches. And when it catches, it's like, oh, that feels good. But
Yeah.
now.
That was easy.
I was like, nothing about that topic is easy, which is
Okay, well, we're done.
even more ironic. Crinkle it, just throw it. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Now for me.
Yeah, I'm not excited by these, but I'm going to
let's
let
roll.
you.
If they're no good, I'll just say that sucks. Give me another one.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Number 2.
Oh, copycat. Mm-hmm. Okay, what did I even pick for number 2? Okay. It's like such childish questions. If you could have a superpower,
Oh,
what would it be?
superpower.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Go invisible.
That's so boring.
Okay. Let me get
That
another
is
one.
so
Okay.
boring.
Superpower. That's an interesting one. Can I say what I'd just rather
it,
be in
though?
life? Can I just pick what I would like to? No, you want a superpower.
I want something that it's going to be like magical. Like it's not something that you could even come close to
Oh, fly.
having.
I'd
in
like to
this
fly.
life. Okay, you want to fly.
Oh, flying.
If you could fly, where would you fly?
Oh, I would like
Just
probably.
like this would be your main course of transportation. You wouldn't walk or run or drive. You would just fly.
Think about that. It wouldn't be nature.
You'd fly over cities.
Yeah, I mean,
Inhale some good smog.
Nature's kind of like, what am I going to do in nature? Look at trees, watch some birds. You know, ooh, look at those birds. What happens is I fly over the trees. It's what happens sometimes when I'm out front of the house. Everybody will say, oh, sit out there and just look at the trees. It's
God,
really pretty.
you just sent like 5 pictures of a bee on peonies.
Okay, so I do that.
Because
okay. Yes.
you were like, so sorry, but this is actually...
Say that. Don't say that. I have a rep. Okay. But
I'm here to destroy your reputation.
Traditionally, in a more common Mark Howley mode, now I broke down that day. Shit went wrong.
Because you saw the beauty in nature.
No, I wanted to send a picture to you guys because you would see the beauty. I was actually bored. No, here's what happens. Like somebody would say, oh, I remember this mostly when I came out here. Until quite a while. Like say, oh, take a walk through the forest and just enjoy it. So I would get in the forest. I'd walk about maybe 100 yards and I'd say, yeah, a bunch of fucking trees.
Well, you were missing a key ingredient.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you
I
were.
wasn't. No.
Were you smoking a little weed?
No, I've been clean for 37 years.
That's
I
the
always
problem.
thought on hikes they should
Nature
have.
is always way better with a little bit
They
of
should have
weed.
a fast food restaurant at the top of the hill. Just like a burger. Just, like a small little, like a burger shack. You just go up there, hang out.
Some good old golden arches at the top of your hike.
I had Diet Coke, Egg McMuffin, if I may. Why do you need that? Do you see that fucking hill I just climbed? Oh my God. Who wouldn't? I had to get back down it.
So back to the question.
Flying. I think
if you were flying, do you have wings? Or are you just like...
Oh, no. The coolest thing. If
Are
I
you an
really
angel?
if I really wanted to be cool, it would be.
Are you Batman?
I would like
Batman
to
does
have
not have
wings, and then some ability to grab stuff
So you want to be like an eagle. You want like talons.
with some potential violence.
Wow. So you're becoming kind of this like anthropomorphic creature.
Like if you ever, when I'm down on the beach, sometimes you see those big birds. They come flying in like this. I don't know what they are, but they're like larger than a seagull.
Like a pelican?
No, they're up high and they're all anyway. They come in. There's like 6 or 7 of them together, and they just come down towards you. Like in a group of them. And I always think of those dinosaurs that used to come down and like
Pterodactyls.
Is that what it is? A pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And I was with Corey the other day, and I said, "Can you imagine if they were pterodactyls right now, and you're their dinner?" Right.
I mean,
so they are coming at you, and I know what I'm doing. I'm throwing Corey towards them. This is this is serious, So I mean, I'm telling her where the cave is, but I'm running faster than her. I'm like, fuck this. But I always thought, wouldn't that be so cool to be one of them? So I could like see somebody maybe like running across a field, and I would just be like, I might not even be hungry.
You want to hurt people with this superpower?
I'm going to kill them. I mean, you asked me just naturally what I want to be is just if I could be something as let's say I'm a little boy.
it was a superpower, but okay.
Yeah.
So your little boy wants to be a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe a cockroach.
What the fuck? Why a cockroach?
Anything
That's
that
the
horrifies
opposite
people. No, because
of flying.
No,
you're closest to the ground.
No,
People
then-
hate you.
no,
they
then-
think
yeah,
you're
no.
so ugly.
Imagine-
You hide in cupboards.
yeah, imagine if
You
were,
are like nuclear bomb proof.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sticking around.
You and the Twinkies.
When
are
I was
what
in
will
college,
exist.
I remember when we would empty out our cereal, sometimes there would be cockroaches in the cereal
Where?
in college. Like it was this old place in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where we wouldn't close the cereal. We'd get it done, just stick it in there. So when
that doesn't. I mean, that's just gross. That makes me think that's a problem with
cleanliness.
No, like the place you were living wasn't up to code or something.
And the
because-
inhabitants.
Ew.
Okay, so go away from a cockroach. I don't want to be a cockroach. It's back to the bird.
I'm like
Back to the
okay,
bird.
Sure, you
right?
want to
Like,
be in a cereal box.
You know how like at our house they're like, oh no, mom says, go watch out for Joey, watch out for this. I don't want them. I want the donkeys.
Okay,
I'm sweeping in and taking a donkey right out of their front yard. They're like,
this is an interesting insight for who you are as a person.
It's not good. It is not good. And I have 5 daughters, like one of them I was running around outside and one of the pterodactyls comes down. Now I'd have to sacrifice myself. I must say that's one of the things.
One
I
of
learned.
the pterodactyls. You in this situation are the only pterodactyl. So you're
Oh
also
no! I'm
blending
using
the
hypothetical.
idea
I'm
that
using hypothetical. That
we
I'm
live
on-
amongst
no,
the dinosaurs.
No, well
and
then
this-
you would be baby.
This is
pterodactyl.
really taking
no,
on.
then you would be my 5 little girl pterodactyls.
Then I technically have my own pterodactyl right now.
Yes.
This is.
So I'd have to teach you how to hunt. Go get a rabbit.
I mean, you kind of have had to teach us how to hunt, but we're not in the jungle
Pterodactyls.
and we're not pterodactyls. No.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
That was easy.
I actually don't want to mess up Brian's.
Okay, now we
studio
got
and leave garbage
1
around here.
and 3.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's just pick one more because I don't love my last 2. So
Well, that will be to be
we'll leave
determined.
one to just never be heard of, and one will be discussed. So
Okay, one of mine is. Well, I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I'm gonna pick which number I'm going for.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go with 3.
Okay,
It's
3.
my second favorite number.
This is a serious subject because I'm in the midst of it.
What the fuck?
Moby Dick.
Oh my god! I actually am really excited to talk about this.
Because I'm reading it.
Okay,
I told you I'm reading it.
Yeah, I know I never responded to that text, but
Didn't you study a whole Moby Dick, a whole shitload?
yes, I did. I mean, that was kind of my graduating project in a way, as I was a part of the. Oh man, I wish I knew the direct, like the full name and title of this, but basically, I worked under a professor, Dr. Stephen Olson Smith, who is
Dr. Stephen Olson Smith.
so yeah, he's so brilliant, and he was a part of this project that took books that Herman Melville annotated. That he was a self-taught. He educated himself, so he had no formal education. He would read great pieces of literature, great pieces of work, annotate it, basically have conversations.
This
with
guy
the work.
had a horrible life.
He actually didn't have a good life.
Oh.
I don't know if you're
good. He
being
should've-
sarcastic.
No. But I mean, reading Moby
He was
Dick and all that.
pretty. I mean, yeah, he had an pretty insane upbringing, and he spent some time like captured on an island by some like now what they
Pterodactyl?
would call sure we'll call it savages, but whatever. No, but in the book Moby Dick, that person that is
Ishmael.
representing is Queequeg.
Oh, I like him. Don't tell me what happens to him just yet. Oh, I don't care.
Well, I'm just saying he represents a part of Melville's life that he spent trapped on an island, and I can't remember how he got trapped on an island. He was a not a sailor, but I think he worked on or was a part of a fishing boat or a whaling.
Whoa.
boat.
So this is Melville. This is not the professor.
No, this
The
is Herman
professor wasn't
Melville.
out on. I thought the professor was out on an island.
No, sorry. To back up. So Dr. Stephen Olson Smith was putting together a website that would allow people to have access to all the annotations that Herman Melville made in these books. So rude.
No, continue. I'm only
That were
kidding.
found at a train station. Someone had like chucked a bunch of books in a bag, like outside of this train station, I believe Germany. And someone picked them up and started to like look through them and noticed that they were annotated and that they were signed in the back by Herman Melville every time he would finish them. Or if he owned them, I'm not sure why he signed them, but he signed them, and I think they had a date on it, and somebody verified that this was like a legit.
It was the man.
Yes. And so people went out and I'm not sure how big of a team this was, but basically there was like a call out
Pardon
to
me.
try
I'm going
and
to scratch
find-
my ear. I don't know if that.
Okay.
Pardon me. So I
Anyway,
apologize.
so he, where was I?
they went out.
You
They
really
got the
could just have
annotations.
scratched your ear and not said anything.
know,
It would have
I
been
know.
better than interrupting.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know what to do because I get yelled at. You're the boss. I'm like, don't do that. So then we got Herman Melville.
So
He's-
anyway, yeah, so then they started to find more and more of these books, basically, and they started to create this whole library, and it became a digital database. And so I worked with him creating this database. We would try to code in what lines for sonnets for Shakespeare, for different big works,
Oh.
and create ways to make this searchable so that when you were studying his work, you could start to tie together his literature to where he was pulling it from his studies.
Let me tell you what, as a historian, weirdo, read anything, I would like to see that.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at that project in years, but when we were working on it, it was still very much in its infancy and being built. I bet now it is much more complete, and I don't remember the website name, and I don't know if it was live when I was working on it or they were still working on it themselves, but I should find it and link it just to
I'd
put
love
a little
to.
shout
I
out,
would
because
love to.
if anyone listens to this and has literature
Well, we hope
feelers
so.
out
Maybe
there
there's a few educated people out there.
who listen to our show. Maybe.
We'll take anybody.
What is our demographic? Are they college educated? Do they read? But then again, I guess I shouldn't say that because Herman Melville wasn't college educated and went on to write.
Now let me ask you, but we don't want to
Our
take forever
greatest
time.
piece.
Yeah, the
Moby
professor.
Dick. Okay.
Moby Dick by Herman Melville. But the professor,
Yes.
what in God's green earth set him on that path?
Well, he was my early American literature professor.
But how did he get to Moby Dick?
Well, Herman Melville was an early American writer. And so he became, I don't know his story. I mean, that's beyond my knowledge, but he was
raised on an island.
He was someone who was really, I don't know, I feel like this is how college worked for me. Was I met people who were so passionate about their studies and they were so niche and so focused that it just blew you away. Yeah, I don't know I didn't need to know how he fell into this. I was just so intrigued and drawn to him because he was, all my professors I was kind of drawn to for this reason. They were just so invested in finding out the smallest little crack in history, or just one person that lived, like Herman Melville, or that was his whole study. I mean, we also read a lot of other things.
If you go to college,
Emerson
and anybody out here who has gone or is planning on going, professors are smart. I mean, I took ones in finance, and it would just be
oh my gosh, yeah,
smart as shit, or statistics.
I never took any of these classes.
And another one I did, the interpretation of Shakespearean drama.
No, that's probably
that
really
guy
cool.
was. Woof,
I know.
I loved him.
People who study Shakespeare are it's not just Shakespeare, because there's so much complexity and there's so much behind those sonnets and those prose and that poetry that there's the iambic pentameter, things that he created. That there's a beat to it and everything. I mean, it's so interesting. But I was gonna say, before we dive into anything else, Moby Dick, because I don't know what you had to ask about that, but being new to being on the internet, this glob thing that we upload to that I still can't quite understand.
Oh, but it's watching.
And it's watching. And so we have, we do YouTube shorts because everyone has to have microbyte material now. They can't nobody can actually sustain their focus through a whole thing. So we do these, everyone does these reels, whatever, TikToks, but so we put a clip up of our conversation last time about how you asked me a math question, and I was like, I was a literature major. And I saw a comment come in that was my first experience with some shade, some hate comments. And I had to actually go through a little practice of being okay, the internet is just a big giant thing that I don't have to take personally. I don't have to be, offended. I don't have to take this to heart. I don't have to put this on my sleeve. But basically they were saying that being a literature major is just an excuse for being dumb, and that I should still know. I shouldn't be able to not do math because I was a lit major. And this guy's
Getting close.
His explanation to this was that his dad was a literature major. And so, and he told him that people who aren't good at math or something just say that, but really the smartest people he knew were all math and
math.
Bachelor of Science people. And I didn't really understand the point of the comment, because I was like, is he saying he's not smart? The dad's not smart because he's a lit professor,
here's what you have to do.
But he's calling out lit professors who's saying they're not.
No. Let's turn this the right way. The dad's a dick, and you're good.
Well, the dad wasn't the one who posted the comment. It was some guy, and I don't know who this guy was, but I mean, a part of me was just like, of course I go into like defense mode because I'm like, look, not everyone thinks in numbers. Okay, like I'm not dumb because I didn't excel in math.
No,
you
and
know?
you didn't. You did not.
No, I didn't. But I don't think people are dumb because they can't excel in one thing over the other. Like we obviously bring individual strengths, but regardless, it just is making me think of this topic because it brought me to the fact that, you know, talking about books, talking about literature, bringing up my academic experience brought me to this place where I was like, damn, the internet can be.
This is a saying. Pardon me to interrupt you.
Asshole, but.
There's a saying that says, you know, the world is run by B and C students, and I do think I know a lot of people who are
What does that even mean?
Well,
like, what does that even mean? Like, people, like, what is being a good student? Like, I mean, I get that you're good at, you know, this is where that like regurgitation thing comes in, is like, yeah, I mean, I not to say that people who are good at school are dumb and then people who like aren't good at school are actually secretly really smart. Like, I think
I like that
so much more like there's so much more nuance to intelligence and to education than simply what are your GPAs.
Okay, let me give you a sense. Here's a bad student. Okay. Me.
You were a bad student.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Here's what.
And you made a bunch of money.
Yeah. Smoking marijuana before you take statistics classes, really hard to do well. Very hard. Okay.
Can I counter that?
Yeah.
Smoking weed before you write a literature paper, super good idea. You will come up with some crazy, awesome comparisons, analogies, metaphors. Your mind will be taken on a creative journey that you will not regret. You will not regret. Your mind will be taking all the stories you read and your prompt and your thesis, and you will create masterpieces.
Oh, if you're high
for sure.
When you take a statistics,
don't go for grammar edits, though. Don't go revise your paper
just
when
let
you're
it
stoned. Let the concepts rip while you're stoned, then go back and fix everything when you're sober. This isn't a through and through be stoned experience.
Just roll it, baby.
Yeah, no, don't do that. But can't speak to stats.
Okay, stats. Here's the one. Like you come in and there's 10 questions, okay, and you're a little high. So you look at the first one, you go, I get back to that one. Now, second one, that's a tough one. Third one, Fourth one, can I cheat from anybody?
I never cheated on anything. I did cheat on one paper in 7th grade. And
7th grade?
Yeah, it was young. And I had so much stomach pain and diarrhea the whole time that I was like, this is not worth it. I'd rather just fail than go through the like inner turmoil of cheating. But anyway, one
last one. When we had Mr. Auk, who taught history at Malvern Prep, where I went, we found the question that was going to be on the final. So you basically, they gave you a blue book. So you got a copy of the blue book. You wrote out the whole thing. Then you kept a blue book. When you walked in, you slid it under your desk. He gave out blue books, and you just switched them. So you took what you wrote the night before.
Oh, wow.
And it got like an A.
This is going to get really expensive for kids now. They need 2 iPads.
I know. Oh, well, it can be done. It can be done. These kids, somehow it's going to work out.
You need an iPad with all the answers preloaded and then an iPad that looks just like the one in school.
Or just copy from the guy next to you.
Oh, my God.
You know? All right, so now let's go with this.
What I was going to ask is, what about Moby Dick, just out of curiosity? Because why did you write it down? Just because you knew it was a...
Yeah, just because you've talked about it so much. And, I've read... Not to be fancy pants, but, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Dickinson, all these people I just love reading because I love history. And I just pick up these ones.
Too.
Yeah. And they speak they write so gorgeously.
Oh, I know. It's so eloquent.
And you've talked about Moby Dick. So I ended up not having time open. And I thought, I'll read Moby Dick because you had. Yeah. And I am a bit...
There's a lot of... that's a dense piece. Some of it is...
It is seriously dense.
Some of it I would read and almost have to... admittedly skip over some of it because there will be chapters where he just goes into the depths of like whale skin.
Oh, I was
whale
reading
oils and stuff. Yeah. He just goes in. It's more like there's just educational pieces because to me, this book was him just turning inside out. It was like it's like a autobiographical / educational / historic / really intriguing story with crazy characters and
Ahab.
Yeah, Ahab and Ishmael and Queequeg and all the people that are on it. And then, of course, Moby Dick, the whale, and
He's
just
a big whale.
all
Moby
of
Dick's
these
a
things
big
that
whale.
are happening. And then, just the innkeepers and all the places he goes.
Yep.
I mean, there's such rich descriptions.
We have
I
to
feel like you
move
cut me
on.
off all the time.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I thought
So rude.
in light of the timeline and what we're trying to get done. Okay, let's.
All right. I'm going to throw this button at you. I hate this button, honestly. All of a sudden, I'm like, fuck this button.
All right, questions 1 and 3.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. Which one do you want? Because this is the last one we're doing of these.
3.
Why do you keep copying
1.
me? No, we're going with 3.
All right.
I don't remember what 3 is. You chose poorly.
What is it?
Your most embarrassing memory. Go. What a bummer. You should have picked one.
Fuck. Most embarrassing memory.
That you're willing to share to the
that
public.
I'm willing to share.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to say. That you're willing to share.
I'm not going to some of them I can't share. Surely not in front of my daughter.
Okay, let me just, within context of in public and in front of your daughter. Daughters, all of your family. This will be aired. So, just keep that in mind. Or I guess just go for it and I'll just puke afterwards or something. But I hope
Can it be most shameful or embarrassing or both, like a bad thing you did?
Well, I guess that's for you to decide. Shame and embarrassment sort of fall into the same camp, but I feel like shame is a way worse.
Okay, well, I'm going to go in
Expression
after
of
one here that's
embarrassment.
embarrassment, only because it's embarrassing to tell, and it points to, once again, my pterodactyl problem, okay?
Pterodactyl problem.
As you recall, the problem with the pterodactyl where I want to get out and kill things. So, this is really not nice.
Do you have any coffee left in your cup?
No, I'm out.
Oh, man.
You want to take a break and have some coffee? A little tiny
No,
dose.
keep going.
Okay, hold on. You can have some of this.
That's disgusting.
Anyway, so
Okay, this goes back to your pterodactyl problem.
back to, okay. So we have a bunch of kids all hanging out, what's called Valley Road behind Bewley Road where I was raised.
Okay.
And it's a huge neighborhood, a lot of little kids, a lot of kids running all around.
How old are you?
10.
Okay, so 10 years old.
Probably 10 kids with us.
Okay.
Okay.
This is an early memory.
Oh, because it's not good.
This really,
I got in a shitload of trouble for this
got put
one.
into like the core memory RAM
this is
space.
core memory, yeah, and it's not good. It's not good. People, please like me. Don't judge me on this, and please, daughters, don't dislike me as your father.
I don't think we're gonna.
So
okay.
anyway,
Your
we're all
10-year-old
hanging out.
self is
we're all
forgiven.
hanging out, and we're playing like some wiffle ball or something. And this little kid goes by, and his name's Adam, right? So we go out, and I say, Adam, why are you riding down the road here? Adam says, well, I'm going to the store. So I was like, maybe you should go another way. So Adam's like, well, this is the way to go. So I said, all right, fine. So we go back to wiffle ball, right? Next day, Adam comes back down the road again, right? I said, hey, Adam, we don't want you coming down this road. This is not your road. Go another way. So he says, I'm going to go to the store. And I'm like, well, go home another way.
Why can't he go down this road?
Because it's our road.
That's it. That's the only
And
reason.
he's like a dork.
Okay.
So this is horrible. I'm going to tell you the whole story. You might not like me. So anyway, just cry telling it to you. So anyway, he comes back down the road. I stop him. I say, Adam, we told you enough times to not come down this road.
Oh God.
So don't come down this road. Mm-hmm. So I punch him in the face
Oh my God.
2-3 times.
2 or 3 times?
Yeah. And take his bike and take it, just steal the bike. Throw it behind someone's house and said, now you don't have a bike. Rotten Adam. Don't come down this street anymore.
I'm kind of speechless.
I am too. Thinking back on how he is. See, I was a pterodactyl. So now I'm a rotten kid. Listen, when you're Catholic, these are things that I have to deal with St. Pete when I get up top.
I mean, this is
Dark.
good that you're guilty about it. It shows that you have, some
I don't know, can we even film it?
reflection and what's being filmed? It's going out. We're going out.
So now here's the way you get screwed. Okay, this is what happens with criminals.
Is that the end of the story? Like, is there anything more that
it continues
happens?
a little further.
What happens?
Just a hair. It's not. It gets better, not worse.
Okay, let's get to the better.
So the
let's
better
just
is
get it
off comes.
through.
He gets his mother. Now, mind you,
Good.
it wasn't just me involved. It was several other guys. There's a little bit of smacking Adam around.
my
okay.
God.
Okay. Well, Adam, this is a
Jesus.
different day and age.
I know. God, it really
Different day and
is.
age, and he came down the wrong road, and we got pissed. We gave him 3 tries.
Yeah,
Okay.
but just to, I mean, whatever. I'm gonna come to Adam's defense. He was actually doing nothing wrong. You don't own
In
this
today's
road.
touchy-feely world, PC, you're not allowed to take a whoop ass on a kid anymore. What's going on? So anyway, the mother comes around and goes
God.
to one
Thank God
friend's
for the
house.
moms.
The one with the kid comes around to one house.
Good. I would be like, yeah, I'm bringing my backup.
Yeah, it brings another kid, mother house, and then comes to our house. Now, first one who was involved says, wasn't me, it was Mark. So now my whole alibi's falling apart. Goes to the next one.
You can just keep confusing terms and just say, no, it wasn't me. It was so-and-so.
So now they go to the next one, Ricky Croft, wherever the hell you are. Ricky, narcs me. It's Mark Halley.
So you got 2 hits against you.
Yeah. Now they come down to my door, knock on the door, and they say to my mom, look at what your son did, so we're told. And she says, oh, I'm sure he did.
Well, she knew.
She right away is like, and I catch ungodly amounts of shit, right? So I'm like, first off, my first thought is, Adam, you shouldn't have come down the road. Second one.
This wouldn't be an issue if you just listened to me.
If you just listen.
Not
Jimmy,
for my actions in this
3 doors
matter.
up, Jimmy, he's still going to be my friend, but he did narc me. Ricky, he narked me, but it's only fair because if they had started with me, I would have pushed it down the rest of the way.
Okay,
So this is just
some understanding.
some
there.
understanding. But then here's what my mother does, which was, I think it was a smart move, but boy, this is why it burns into my mind. She told my 4 older brothers, and normally if you like beat somebody up in the street or something like that, it would be like funny. You know, if it's just a one-on-one and you got in a fight and you beat somebody up, that's
Okay,
that's
but
no
you
big
like
deal.
ganged up on someone.
I ganged up on that. Was rule of thumb number 1 in our house. You cannot do that.
I'm glad you had some rules against this.
You can't. You can beat somebody up smaller than you, not same age but thinner, like say Billy Baines.
God, this is.
I probably beat up Billy
Baines.
Baines 10 times. You know,
Okay.
he was just dumb. He would always come back and start an argument, beat him up again. He would cry. So anyway, same with Ricky Croft.
I don't
Ricky Croft
understand
cried
these
all the
rules.
time. Cried all the time. Sissy. This big cry loud. You could hear it all over the neighborhood. Now, my parents say to my brothers, this is not a joke. We do not deal with this as funny. Mark needs to be driven through.
How does it get driven through?
They all just kind of go like, that's not cool.
Oh, like to you.
Yeah.
They
That's
just kind
not
of
cool.
shunned you a little bit.
Yeah, not cool. Not fucking cool.
And this set it into your mind that you were feeling
Yeah, it was
real
like
shame.
It was like, wow.
Like, even my brothers are
they're
disappointed.
Yeah, and I mean, Dan would put a whoop ass on anybody, anytime. You know, Nick, he would beat people up.
Yeah.
You know,
It's funny. What I'm gathering from this is and this has been.
I'm a pterodactyl.
No, it's not. No, it's interesting to me. I've been thinking about this concept lately that like, I feel like we hear, like, there's so much stuff that we're hearing that's like good for us that we need to do, how to act better, how to be better, all this stuff. And this is going to make sense in a second, I swear. But
I'm wandering all over right now.
where you get that information, like when you hear it and who you hear it from makes a huge difference. So like something that you've heard for 1,000 times in your life, say like, you know, it's drink a lot of water or, you know, something simple, right?
Yep,
Like
yep.
any lesson that will enhance your quality of life or even your character or whatever. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm just using water as an example, but then you have someone say it to you that for some reason it's the way they say it and it's the person that says it.
Yep.
The way it's delivered that all of a sudden this piece of information that has been in your face for years will suddenly click. That someone says it in a way that changes
My mom.
your perspective.
Yeah.
And for men, I find it so interesting because, and this lesson has been good for me because I am a very I like to solve my own problems. And then when I see other people have the problem, I think like, oh, I'm going to give them this advice so that they can figure it out faster.
Okay, now I'm a little older.
But then when they don't listen to it, I would get like all kind of like confused while they were still struggling. When I'm like, I gave you the answer to the problem. Like, why are you still here? And then I came to the realization that, it's just not always about the fact that you've heard it or that it's been there all along. It's that like you are finally hearing it. Like you're waking up to it, that you're resonating with it.
Right spot, right time, right person.
And right person. Yeah, there's all these, it's kind of fascinating to me lately. And men, I think this is true with everything because I think this is why I encourage people to like express themselves, write their music.
Let's get the men.
All this. Well, hold on. I just think it's important that people put all this out because you never know that you might be the person who reaches someone else and gives them that click, that key in to this concept or to this,
opening
embarkment. Yeah. That they're trying to get through and move their journey forward. And so, but with men, I find it really impactful because women and men, I'm just going to, this is in our relationship together through all of history, through all of time, I find these archetypes to be very consistent. Whereas like the woman is always kind of like nagging, or there's, the nagging wife, the ball and chain, all of these kind of crappy, but we're sort of the noise, like there's, I mean, how do I put this? So I think there's things that, especially in a marriage, I guess, is there's things that you can do to influence your significant other, right? Because they do respect what you have to say. But you're also someone who's saying it all the time. So you can only your opinion can only go so far because you're kind of like always the one giving the opinion. And you get kind of drowned out sometimes. I mean, I do it with Spencer. Spencer does it with me. But then
I don't with your mother. I hear everything she says and take it to heart. Go ahead.
Well, and I think there's a lot of unregistered or unacknowledged advice because like I will hear Spencer say things that I will go like, I don't need to hear you say that, but then in the back of my heart I'm kind of like, that's a really good point.
Fuck him for knowing that.
Yeah, truly. I'm just like, damn, that's a good thing. That's a good piece of advice right there.
Don't show him.
Or like, that's a good way to put the dishes away in the cabinet as I'm bitching about how to put the dishes away in the cabinet. There's just, I'm going to be the first to admit that. But when men hear advice from other men, it hits harder.
Oh, absolutely.
For them. I don't know what it is. Like personal story, personal share, when Spencer quit drinking. Mm-hmm. And, when I really put my foot down about it.
I remember that.
It was
great. God, congratulations to him, by the way.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah. He's years into his sobriety now. I think we're in our 3rd year. So
great.
Yeah, so happy for him. So proud of him. But, it was part of my way of making that happen, that shift feel as much as I could do, right? Because there's only so much I can do to help
you can only reach so far.
Right. And for anyone who's struggling with someone in addiction, there's a point where you put your foot down and then you have to kind of surrender to the outcome.
Yep.
Truly. Like I was like, this is my boundary. I really fucking hope that it gets met with true effort and understanding, but I also fully accept that if it doesn't, I have to actually hold to my word and like walk out.
No, I remember that.
So anyway,
I remember you having a tough time with that. Really hard. I'm not joking around. It was really,
that
really
was
hard.
a really hard time in my life. But what made things, I think, really strong were that I told, and I don't think this wasn't like a founding thing. There was a lot of things that were going on because this is a multifaceted solution and program that you get involved with when you get sober. But was that I told everyone, I told family and friends and you, and I backed myself up with like people in our life stopped drinking with him. They started to back me. Yeah. They were like, and it was his male friends. This was like groups of people who like our close friends, not to like name names, but like, who you are, who came out and said, we're not drinking with you, man.
Get your shit together.
This isn't cool what you're doing to Bridget. Like, you have, blah, blah, blah. And just really backed me. And I think that support helped push.
Well, let me interrupt you. I will, because men, we don't talk about a lot of shit.
Yeah, so I feel like when you do, it kind
no.
of hits harder,
Yeah, 'cause
which
you
is a
don't-
beauty.
Yeah, you don't.
in
You
your
kind of don't
communication.
want to. It's kind of like whatever, and then sometimes you'll just say like, "Hey, man, that's fucked up."
Right.
You know, no, that shit's fucked up,
I know.
and she's gonna leave you. You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna fuck it all up.
Yeah.
and that'll
That'll
you'll
rattle
hear.
some
Yeah.
chains.
Like
and
my
some-
brother's giving me shit.
Well, that's what I was like. It's interesting that that story showed up because it's noticeable how I also think like with, all movement where there's been any kind of liberation for females, whether it be politically, like in history through first, second, third wave feminism, things like that. It was like when men came out to recognize it, when they walked those, when they walked with the women in those, oh my gosh, what am I thinking of? I'm totally blanking on the word right now. On those movements, movements and things. When they came out and showed their support, it's like it takes a lot of balls to stand up for something that you
Other
have
dudes
maybe
aren't
been a
gonna.
part of, and that other men haven't been a part of, because there's even more.
I never went to any of the marches. Not me. Hell no.
I don't think you have. Yeah, well, now we're in a different space with this new political.
In fact, you know what I
environment
think
we're
is
in.
going on here? I think these girls, we got to buckle back down again. They're coming after our ass.
Oh my gosh.
But
That's
anyway.
a whole conversation that I do not want to
That's
get
not going
into.
to-
but
no.
yeah, no. But I just it's been interesting to really notice how strong that voice is for other men from other men. Like
Yeah, no.
that
Once,
communication is really strong.
Yeah, because it's much
women
more
talk
blunt.
a lot. Women share a lot. We're very vulnerable with each other. We're pretty like open with each other, typically, right? In a healthy relationship between women and friends and in groups. I mean, being the oldest of 5, like I feel like I've been sort of bred to just have pretty good women like relationships with females and stuff, and to understand them and to know that we have a cadence to our communication, and there's kind of all that like unknown subconscious language.
Oh no, a
that
guy would
happens,
be
but
more like, hey, dude.
that doesn't happen as much.
He's like, dude, what are you fucking worrying about? I mean,
Right.
come on, yeah. Oh, this issue or that, want to be like, oh, what would you do? Extended child leave, and it would be like, initially it was like, oh, that's not cool.
Wait,
And
what are you saying?
Like when they would take, child leave, they 6 weeks, 12 weeks. When I was younger, that wasn't going on. You didn't get those extended
paternity leave?
women's leave. Women can leave the workforce
Maternity
for
leave?
Maternity, yes. And when that initially came out, like they started to be much more out of it, this is the early mid 80s, and it was going on. But there was much more of a rumbling at that time of like, oh, is that really necessary? And then as time went on, guys are like, yeah, why not? And then if somebody started to bitch who was a guy, you would be like, dude, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And that would have much more resonance than anything, the news, anything. People, it's like, oh, a couple of my buddies are just putting me in place.
Yeah,
And you
there's a
hear it.
little bit. Oh, that just kind of pisses me off though, because there's a little bit of like, because just the woman saying it isn't fucking enough.
Oh boy,
There is a little bit of that. I'm like,
there is.
yeah, there
well, you're the
is.
one who started the goddamn
I'm
conversation.
not saying.
No, I'm talking
backing it. I mean, I'm not saying that. I still think and stand by my statement that it depends on who says it. That will make a difference. But that comes with some, stereotypical, historical, societal, like all of that. Who it comes from and why it comes from them is important to you. Does come from the conditioning that you consider who is to be respected, who is to be listened to, who is an authority of knowledge, all of these things. So,
but sometimes we're getting heavy here. We'll try and go. Maybe we'll go to our last question. It'll be really short. Okay. But anyway, here's the thing. Sometimes there's opposing views on your perspective. Mm-hmm. And yes, you hear it from your wife, you hear it from girls, but you're not a girl. Mm-hmm. You just aren't.
Yeah.
I didn't have a baby come out of me,
Right.
obviously. So, kind of like you hear this stuff, and, you used to be able, in the olden days, you have a baby out when you're threshing the corn. Back in the Middle Ages, you just have the baby and get right back to work on the corn.
Right. Yeah, but
2 hours off.
Ugh.
But anyway, no. So
I don't know what historically women were given because they weren't. I mean, unless I guess you were, and I don't want to make
Very little time.
assumptions.
Very
but
little time.
I was
Very
going to say
little
as
time.
like a slave or someone who was like a low class worker who did like much more manual labor.
I think you got to come in. You got to come
Did
up
you
with 100.
rest?
Well, you got to come up with 100 pounds of grain every week, or the big guy comes down and freaking takes your land or steals shit, and that's it. You're an indentured. You're feudalism, basically. I give you my land. I want 1,000 pounds of grain. I don't care. Your wife gets pregnant. Get me 1,000 pounds. Okay, here we go. Ready? Last one.
Wait, You're rushing through really fast.
I'm sorry.
I was just like, can we just have the conversation? I don't want to go through my last one. I don't like it that much.
My bad. You know why? Because we're getting into this touchy subject around maternity leave, and I could feel the heat coming down.
From me? I'm not turning into any heat.
Well, just a little bit. Well, you just said a second ago, like, well, that kind of pisses me off a little bit.
Why can't it be? Yeah.
Okay, well, then I'm just feeling like, woo, you're my boss. This shit could come. This shit could come back and get me. But no, and then once you have a kid and you're a dad, then you're like, fuck, a lot of people don't have socioeconomically the chance to do it. But, Carolyn stayed at home because she put you in daycare for one day. Came home, burst into tears.
Well, I don't want to put any shade on anyone who has kids in daycare because I just don't think we even have I just don't think we even have a society that supports
No, they don't.
women in a way that they can stay home and bond with their children anymore. It's really been a heartbreaking reality to enter. As
You
a new
worked.
mother.
You worked at one of those child care centers. I remember you being just
I was a substitute preschool teacher. I mean, and I really don't want to do any fear mongering shit on this show. And like for people who are listening who have had their kids in daycare or have them currently there, like most of the women and the people that I experienced were hard workers. They were passionate about their work. It's just a system that I wish it was more beautiful. I guess I'll put it that way just to keep things like more light. I wish in the world of like business and kind of capitalism and what daycare has become an industry that is relied on, like how to get childcare so that you can go to work or both parents can make the money they need to make to live comfortable lives and support their children and all the, things that life demands. Especially in a first world nation, it's expensive. There's a lot of things.
Really expensive.
Yeah, we have a lot of we have technology to keep up with, cars, and just like all of these things that we have to maintain, right? And so, and it costs money. It's not so simple.
No, it isn't.
And, I think the thing that I wished that I saw was that daycare was like the village. Like I wanted to see that I would go in and there would be this really passionate group of people who are like well paid and
loving and nurturing,
like women helping other women raise their children so they could go to work. And then it created nurturing roles for women who wanted to take care of children, that they could do this for their work and that there would be this flow of money that you could go off and do the career that you wanted to do as a woman and know that your children were being well taken care of by women who found more pride in that than maybe doing something else. And there would be this exchange, right? And I at a level that does exist. At a level that is there. At some points, there are grades, right, of daycares or preschools, if you will. That
you were in one that was a little not up on the scale, I don't think.
Well, I went to probably over I probably went to over 50 different daycares and preschools.
Oh my God, I didn't know that many.
I was a substitute. I was a substitute teacher.
That's right, I remember that. I didn't know it was that frequent. I thought it was more like a handful of them.
No, my gosh, no. I went all throughout the Treasure Valley in Idaho, and I substituted, at probably 50 different preschools. And
wow.
I mean, spanning from in-home to corporate to religious, like church run, to, just small independent businesses. I saw lots of different versions of
some of them were really
world.
upsetting to you. I just remember you being really tweaked.
Yeah, there are some that really freaked me out. I mean, and some were totally fine. I just think it's such a soft spot in my heart because I don't know how, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into that because I don't want to make it feel like I have all these answers for how to manage your childcare. But it just felt, because there needs to be a certain amount of money made, and because you have to fill a classroom to a certain level, and then the amount of student to student, I mean, really it's like kid to teacher ratios or baby to teacher ratios affect, how many adults are in the classroom for how many kids are in the classroom, and then, feeding them and the diet plans, and then, how to keep a facility like that running costs a lot of money. How are you going to pay your teachers? How are you going to pay for all these supplies and keep things clean and keep the kids healthy and engaged and taken care of? It's kind of an impossible task almost.
Yeah, I mean, just talk about how hard it is for you just talking about having one kid.
Right. And that's yours. 1-to-1, right? I mean, that's like me and Esme, or like, Spencer and I, that's like a 2-to-1 ratio. And that feels like sometimes, you need like 4 people to 1 baby, and the ratio is 1 person to 4 babies. Like that's daycare. And that is just a really hard place to be. Well, I think to imagine that being like adequate.
Well, there's a whole.
It's just challenging.
I mean,
but God bless, because women have to make. I mean, we're making it work. We're making it work because we have to. And I know that a mother's love is a love that is like, it's all over the planet. I always say, like, it doesn't matter your religion, your faith, your ethnicity, anything. Like, if you've had a baby, you exist in this plane of just caring about your children so deeply that if it means that you have to put aside things because you have to put them in daycare, or you have to do this for socioeconomic reasons and, take care of them in ways that they don't understand at the moment, but you're doing it for them. Like, I feel you. I know how you're organizing this, and I know how you're managing those emotions and those responsibilities. And it's a struggle because we don't have that option really to say, like, I just want to
add to that. I mean, if you go out across our culture, a lot of kids are obviously very well developed, and they went through that. So it's not like, it's part of our world. It's what it is. And thankfully I didn't have to do it. Mom didn't have to do it. And right now you don't have to do it. But, people do have to do it, and it sucks or not.
Well, and it's a bit of a social experiment. It really is. I mean, there's never, I think kids have been being raised by people outside of their parents for a long time. I'm not saying that's a social experiment. The social experiment to me is that a lot of kids are getting raised in, a lot of their childhoods are happening in daycares.
So it'll be a delayed, you'll pick it up on the back end.
Yeah, so I'm curious, like, and I don't even know if that's something that you could study or reflect on in any amount of time. But like, if it has, maybe there's pros. I'm not saying it's all cons, because you are developing a lot of social skills. You are like, you're almost in like a big family. Again, these are kind of the idealistic versions of a daycare childcare situation, is that you're like making friends really early. You have like different sources of trust. You trust your preschool teachers, like you have.
You can
more
get beat up like Adam in my neighborhood.
Well, that's the tragedy that I don't want to go down and think of. But yeah, because groups of kids together can also be like cruel, right? So, but I mean, in daycare, we're at 3, 2, 1, under 1. That's kind of where, because it's pre-K.
Yeah.
So that's daycare, and then preschool, obviously. 3, 4 years old. You're in preschool.
Now, here's a question outside of it. Your husband will be heading out onto the oceans.
Heading out onto the oceans?
Onto the oceans. Like Moby Dick.
Yeah, but not whale hunting. He'll be salmon tendering.
And he'll be away for how long now?
4 months. Well, a little under, actually. So I shouldn't say that.
You've gotten you've been able to get used to it. I'm sure it's a tug, though.
Yeah. Fisherman's wife. So yeah, I got a long summer ahead of me, just Esme and I. But
I guess it's a little hard to talk to now because it's going to be taking place in a few days. It's a little like, we don't have to get into it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting change of pace, but it'll be fine.
It'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It'll be. You got a bunch of people in the family who are going to be running out there and spending time with you. Yeah. That's for damn sure. And then we'll get you back here.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's part of that. We don't even have to have that in the conversation if you don't care to.
No, that's all good. But do we want to do a quick
all right,
number one reveal? Because we are
ready?
closing in on our time.
That was easy.
Okay, we
We
have
have like 6 minutes left.
okay.
So
So
you can
this
pick,
is I'm going to time you.
yeah, time it.
Okay, so you get
Because I'll just take any subject and turn it into a, some kind of philosophical
okay. Ready?
novella.
I know that'll happen. Let's just see. Well, you're going to take number 1, I presume.
No, I'm going to take the other
Okay.
number 1 on here. Did you set a timer?
Yes.
And what is my amount of time?
3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes. Wow, okay.
Okay, or less. Your 20s.
Oh, that's all I have to say. No,
A comment on marriage.
my 20s were awesome.
Were they really?
Oh my God,
Top
yeah.
to bottom.
Okay, let's see. Top to bottom? I mean, no, not like every single moment packed into that decade was amazing. Just to give reference, I'm going to be 33 in July. So I'm only 3 years into my 30s, which have been also just incredible. Hard times, but things that, my 20s were hard times, but path setters for where I am in my 30s. But I had a lot of fun. I traveled. I feel like I really
You did.
soaked up that time.
You
I feel
did.
proud of myself for sticking to my kind of guns, and I feel like I just did things my way. Truly,
No,
like
you
the Frank
did.
Sinatra
As
song.
a father, as a father, you
Yeah, I
pushed
wasn't.
it. You got it done. You did what you wanted to do.
Yeah, and I was not interested in like. I guess there were some parts of my story that feel very like traditional and cliche and kind of like sort of on the beaten path, and then there were parts of my story that were like totally different
Yep.
than what you would maybe normally see in somebody during that time of their life, and that's what I guess I appreciate looking back at now.
Did you ever hear the saying, and I believe there's some truth to this, every 10 years, you're a completely different person.
That feels inaccurate.
Okay, but when you were 20.
But like if you were to take me at 10 and then look at me at 20, I would be like, well, those are two very different freaking humans, because that was a child and now I'm an adult.
No, but you go
What
20, you're not even out of college yet, right?
I wasn't even in college.
You
yet,
weren't even in
really.
college. Okay, so now,
Took a
now
little
you're
extended.
30,
Yeah.
and by then you're engaged,
I'm married.
or you're married by then. That's a lot. So I mean,
Yeah.
your perspective on life has altered massively.
Yeah, but there's just things that like I'm sure you could trace back all the way through time that have stuck with you through all the decades. Like I've been a reader my whole life. I've been a more
Complex reader. It's no longer like,
I've been a more introspective person my whole life. Like I've always been kind of like I've always liked relationships, like dyad relationships. That's always been a part of my life. Like I've never been
Dyad?
like, yeah, like one-on-one.
Okay.
Like
Is that what it's
just
called?
two people. Yeah, like instead of like group situations or whatnot. Like I do best in one-to-one conversations, dyad relationships. I've always had like boyfriends. Like I've always been I've always had very like significant
4,
people.
3.
I don't know.
2,
Am I supposed to finish up
1.
in that? Done. I like how it says that. Okay, so yeah, that was my 20s, I guess.
And now we'll start. What? You said 3 minutes.
Okay,
You're
here we
done.
go.
That's it.
Yep.
We got time. We got time.
Okay, last one for you, which is just a word. So I guess this is kind of
shit.
fitting.
Let me hear.
And I'm pretty excited to hear what you have to say about this
Okay,
one.
a word.
Technology.
Oh shit. Let me tell you what. First off, I got out of college. You hear this from every old guy. When I got out of college, we worked. No PCs, right? No phones. None of that bullshit. Nothing. Smoking bogues in the office, and I smoked bogues. It was great. Just sit in your office, pounding bogues, putting them out on your table. Restaurants, smoking bogues. Bars, smoking bogues. Anybody got in your face about smoking bogues, you'll be like, "What's your fucking problem? I'm smoking a bogue." You know. You know what I mean? Like, come on. I mean, you just look at somebody
so
like you're pissed off at them
gross-sounding.
for giving you a hard time. So that's where I was.
Okay.
Okay. Now I remember one thing, emails. I remember like getting an email from somebody at work, and they'd be like, I sent you an email. And I'd be like, why the fuck am I going to read that? Like, why would I read an email?
Yeah.
What good's that? Well, I remember at the time, like Starbucks was working with the company I was working for back east, and they're like, all the people from Starbucks make you do emails.
Oh.
And I'd be like, oh, it's fucking Seattle, wherever that is, somewhere. out there.
Far away to land.
Yeah, let them, whatever the fuck they want to do. Send
Beans and mountains and rain. And here
bears, whatever.
But anyway, bears out here.
Bears,
Hardly any
lions, who
forests
knows?
left out
Elephants. I don't know. But anyway,
Anyway.
so it started to come in. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, that's it. Then, I'll go quickly. AOL came out where you had to use the, and it wouldn't work.
Dial-up. I remember
Nothing.
dial-up, yeah.
So that was horrible. Then some of the things that really moved quickly were, starting to be able to communicate better.
Right. So, I mean, we all know that trajectory in a sense of technology, but your relationship with technology currently.
It was a fucking mess.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
It's a fucking mess.
I just wanted to hear you say it.
The number of times, like Facebook. No, I think I got Facebook figured out, but not really. Instagram.
How many times have you asked me how to check the likes on your post on Instagram? Or better yet, how to log in?
Oh, yeah, that's another
How
one.
to get to your profile? How to look for the number at the bottom of the corner of the screen, that thing that shows all the plays? How do I get there?
Or a reel versus
A post.
no
or
idea.
a story.
Done.
These things
Nothing.
cannot be taught.
And I don't want to learn. I don't want
Well, that's
to
the problem.
learn.
This is the problem, is learning. The first foundation to learning is,
3 minutes
I was
ago.
going to say curiosity. And you have, I truly think you have curiosity for 1 second. You'll be like, Bridget, I really want to learn how to use these things. But the sincerity is so fake because I think we have had to sit down. I don't even indulge in these questions
just
anymore.
as well.
You will ask me, how can we do something? It'll be something with the interwebs, the technology. Right? And you will give me this sincere, like, I want to sit down and really learn this. I just go like, yeah, I know you'll forget about it.
Well, you blocked me out of Instagram. Can't get on anymore. I can get on, but
You
it's like
still
some
somehow
convoluted way.
find your way, which I'll ask you, how did you find your way on there? Because I'll see you likes, you'll leave a weird comment on something that will not make sense. And
That's
be
pretty
like,
stupid.
How the fuck did he get back onto his Instagram? How did he do it? How did he get back on? And then I'll call you because, I'll be like, Dad, how are you posting? How are you on there? And you're like, oh, it's on my personal page. No, it's fucking not. It's on your Mark Howley Show page. So if you ever see weird shit on our Instagram, no, it's not me. It's him. And it's not our marketing team because God bless them. They keep it straight.
Oh, yeah, I'm fucking it up right now. And
You
I
actually
don't care.
haven't done it in a while.
I know.
You have been good.
Because I get yelled at by everybody.
Well, it was
Maura,
2
Tatum,
solid
they'll all be
years.
just bitching at me. Like, Dad, you should figure that out. Well, listen.
Yeah, we're coming into the end here. That was easy.
I ran over, actually, a minute over.
I know,
just
you
'cause
counted me down. I
Well,
couldn't
I
even
didn't- I
finish
didn't
my
know.
thoughts. You were
My-
over there with the timer.
my
Typical
when
patriarchal shit.
Listen, what I had to say is more important. It's pretty much simple. I mean, it's pretty fucking
White
simple.
men, what can I say?
All right, with that, we're done. So listen, this is the end of the Bridget dad-daughter conversation. I think this was along the lines of we
It's
had
a little more appropriate than last time.
3 doors that we each looked at.
3 doors. Wow, I like
Little
that. That's
piece
what
of-
we'll call the episode. 3 doors.
3 doors.
Like, what does that mean?
Let's
You'll have
please
to find
enter.
out.
Please enter.
I know.
So with that, I
Like,
just wanted
would
to
you
say,
like the girl on door number 1? Having that
oh,
visual
no.
come up.
Or the dating game.
Those were really fucked up now that I think about it.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
were really messed up.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
All right,
Anyway.
let's wrap this up. Anywho,
Oh, my God. You and that joke.
I hate that one. But anyway,
You let it live on by constantly repeating anywho.
you said it a lot, and I hate that saying. Anywho.
Well, it was great to be on the show. Great to be in the studio. Usually
It
I'm
was.
on
It was.
Zoom and this. No, I'm usually over here, I guess. Yeah, I'm on the iPad staring at you guys, yelling at you, giving you timers.
Yeah, it's actually
pointers and
it's done
stuff.
really well, and you've done a great job.
Thank you.
So we will have you back on again.
Oh, thanks for, thank God.
Yeah, we're going to have
Wow.
you for a third
I
time.
might accept.
Okay. It's going to be a long time. A long time.
Good, because I'm really busy.
Just keep sending the checks.
Just keep dropping that money in my account. I'll keep posting these podcasts.
All right, Bridget, thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Mark Halley Show. If you found this story as intriguing as we did, give us a like, share the episode, and subscribe. For other stories like this one, you can check us out wherever you stream your content at The Mark Howley Show. New episodes every other Friday. Adios.